This morning I delivered the keynote at the apartment annual conference, which was evaluating the latest trends that we developed from our tenant survey across Canada. We were able to get 10,000 responses this year, and there were a few things that were surprising. After the presentation, a number of people came up to give me their feedback about what surprised them most. Number one, the fact that such a high percentage of renters need a bathtub. And I think that that was correlated with the high pet population and also the fact that people underestimate how many families are living in rental apartments. There's also a larger segment of the population that is seniors than I think people realize. In our data set, over a third of the respondents were over the age of 50, and there were even 10% that were over the age of 70. So I just feel like understanding who are the renters and what their needs are has been an underserved aspect of our data collection exercise, and the true value of these tenant surveys is that. So beyond that, we found that high-speed internet access was absolutely essential, especially with younger renters, but it showed up across the entire spectrum of the respondents. In fact, the seniors were representing a third of the people who responded to the survey. So beyond that, location features really aren't something that you can improve on in terms of your location, but services are. And what we found is that tenants are strongly interested in seeing kitchen and bathroom upgrades, and they'll pay more for that. And there also seems to be a gap in terms of how landlords are managing their parking that they have available, because half of all respondents said they don't own a car, and yet 55% of respondents said that they would be willing to pay extra to get another parking space. So one of the suggestions that I offered this morning was that people who do have parking, especially paid parking at their properties, ought to really get a handle on how much of that parking is currently unallocated, repatriate that parking and offer it to people who have multiple vehicles or a motorcycle or a boat or whatever it is that they are interested in renting the parking space to accommodate.
I think tenants in general, I think there's different tenant mix. There's the millennials and then there's sort of the empty nesters. But at the end of the day, I think they're both looking for one feature, and that is a living environment that they feel proud of, and a living environment where they're able to get customer service and feel at home. There's no one specific feature. Each one requires a little bit different things. But overall, they want a community that they feel proud to call their home and come to and live there.
Tenants in rental properties are no different than any consumer. They want ease of use. They want to be able to use their smartphones to communicate with management, to get information, and to have requests fulfilled and made. So it really is no different, and the multi-res community really needs to respond to that, provide a better consumer experience. And in doing so, it's really making communication easy, making it as easy as possible for the resident to live and be part of the community.
Amenities has become a big topic in multifamily, and we're finding whether it's older stock or new stock, it's important to have amenities, in-suite amenities, dishwashers, washers and dryers. I think shared sort of one bedroom that somebody could come out and rent. It's sort of like swing space. I believe that car share is becoming important, especially in urban contexts, especially in places like Vancouver. I think having affiliations with grocery stores like Walmart, Costco, Safeway, in particular Whole Foods, that's going to have the Amazon delivery and drone deliveries. I think you're going to have a lot more that tenants are going to ask. We're asking for more rent. You have a better sophisticated tenant that has more needs, and we're going to have to supply those services.
Without a doubt, the tenants today, in new build particularly, are looking for amenities. Appointed amenities that people will use, not just that look good on a brochure. So, and part of those amenities include location. So I think that the amenity package, location being at the top of that list, are number one priorities.
I don't think of tenants as being one group. right? Just the way people say, well, what do seniors want? Well, some seniors want something and some seniors want something else. So I think about tenants, and I call them residents, right, as distinct groups. So if you think about the apartment industry and the renter profile, it's sort of dumbbell shaped. There's younger people and there's older people, or typically renters. The middle part are typically families, and those families typically will, buy a house. And if they can afford to rent a luxury apartment, they can afford to buy a house, right? So let's break those two groups. So you got the millennials, right? So millennials generally have strong incomes, but they don't have high down payments. So they're not going to buy a house, assuming they want to buy a house. Not every millennial wants to buy a house. People travel around a lot more today. People change jobs faster, so they're not putting down roots the way that maybe they would have, in earlier generations. So the millennials do have certain characteristics, but there are millennials who want to kind of stay at party central, and there are millennials who also want to, be very quiet, right? It's like saying, how's an engineering student different from a humanities student? Well, there's a difference, right? And so there is segmentation, within that group. At the other side, you've got seniors, right, who are going to be different types of renters. They're going to be coming out of houses with a ton of furniture. They're not going to have roommates, right? Whereas a millennial would have roommates. So in a millennial 2-bedroom, you might build a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a center living room and a bedroom and bathroom on this side, a bedroom and bathroom on that side. Fair enough? So they've got their own sort of private space. Whereas if you went to a senior, they're going to use that second bedroom maybe more as a guest bedroom for when the grandkids come over or when friends come over, or it might be an office and things like that. So just the layout of that 2-bedroom apartment would be different, and the size would be different based on the affordability as to who can afford what. The senior being able to afford probably a larger unit because they've got a lot more money from the sale of their home and things like that.